Julian, where are we? Julian found a cool door. Think about getting tattoos. That's not a good idea. Well, we'll see. The boys are together. You get tattoos. I recorded the intro before, but it didn't. Oh my God, this guy. That's the tiniest little dog. This guy scared the goofy out of me. As I was saying, today we're talking about the Canon R5 and whether it's worth it still in 2023, leading to 2024. This camera is like 4 years old, a lot to say, but yeah. And we decided to not make the video in, oh my God, I just became white-faced. We decided to not do the video in a traditional place, so we went to
Venice.
We're in Venice, baby. You might be wondering, why Venice? And I'm just thinking, where is a better place to show off the image quality of the R5 than freaking Venice? It's fucking beautiful here. So the Canon R5, we already know the image quality is good. It's stacking that 45 megapixel sensor, 8K video overall, these top of the line features that people used to kind of make fun of before because the camera couldn't do it without overheating. But now the overheating issues are fixed. What are the problems that I find using the Canon R5? One and only one, pretty much for me personally, is what you notice probably in the corners, especially using the Canon 15-35, and that is the wobble. The wobble is crazy when you vlog. Not really ideal. Amazing for photography. So the IBIS in general is great. And when you push past 24 mil, I'm gonna do that right now. You're about at 24 millimeters, it's going to remove a lot of that jello effect. So you're just left with a very stable shot for being handheld. So when getting B-roll, that is really convenient. But when you're ultra wide like this, I already know there's gonna be a lot of wobble. People are so happy here. Anyways, from a photo standpoint, the Canon R5 is still one of Canon's best cameras. There's yet to be an RF camera to top the 45 megapixels of the Canon R5, so it's still one of the best sensors, and you can see it. If you look at these photos, the sharpness, the detail, the autofocus is fantastic, even though I do find the autofocus in the Canon R8 to be a little bit faster. I think it's because it has the newer processor, the newer sensor, the newer system that you find in the Canon R3, so autofocus is just a little bit slower on the R5, but that said, it's still amazingly fast. And then for video, autofocus still works very great. Again, a little bit snappier on the R8, just a little bit, especially when you use actual RF glass, but that said, the image quality is fantastic. I'm shooting at 4K 25 frames per second right now, and the 4K 100 frames per second I use almost all the time, and the quality is superb. I think the only place that the R5 is kind of lacking is dynamic range. Now, Canon really hasn't fixed this with this level of mirrorless cameras because they still shoot C-Log 3. It would be great if the R5 Mark II had a C-Log 2 feature that would give it a more cinema quality dynamic range so it could compete more with Sony's cameras, because the FX3, the Sony a7S III, those both have way more dynamic range than the R5, and I notice it shooting in this really bright day. There are moments where I'm clipping the highlights, and that kind of sucks. Gotta thank Julian for being patient while I make videos. Julian, what do you think of Venice so far?
I don't think I've actually seen any of it. It's alright. I'm joking, it's the best city in the fucking planet.
Okay, so what I like about Venice is that you have the main attraction areas, but then you just find these small roads. Julian, just either be in the shot or don't be in the shot. Dynamic range, like you'll see in some moments here, Julian's getting pictures of me, and again, I'm making faces because I'm focused on talking. But look at this, beautiful. So although the Canon R5 did come out in around 2020 or so, it does compete with modern day cameras, and honestly I think we've gotten to that point where every camera is good. I mean, my freaking iPhone takes really similar shots to this professional camera. I'm gonna put a side by side here. Tell me which one was taken by an iPhone and tell me which one was taken by this camera. Bet you can't. How unfortunate it would be if that nigga hit his head.
Look at this dude, look. Look.
That's tough.
So I got some of these.
Oh, you're taking a horizontal. Take a horizontal one right now. Quick. Motorcycle. Down, low. Beautiful. Motorcycle. I think the Canon R5 is amazing. It's a great camera. But I think if you're getting into Canon's mirrorless system, I would arguably go for the R6 Mark II or the R8 over the R5. Now the reason is, unless you really need 4K 120 and 45 megapixels, which you probably don't, then those cameras perform equally good, if not better, in terms of autofocus, focus breathing, and just overall ease of use. The R5 is a bit inflated, so to speak, in price because it has that 45 megapixel sensor and the 4K 120 and the 8K RAW, which is cool stuff, but unless you absolutely need those things, probably shouldn't get it.